Next up, we're going to be talking about the historical breakdown chart, which you can find by going to the author analytics menu item and then choosing historical breakdown charts. First off, I want to again point out this is all test data. This is a test section of the site that we utilize for putting in a whole bunch of things to try to break stuff and so on so that we can make sure that the system is as robust as it can possibly be. So you're going to see strange things like jumping from $146 one day to $1,000 the next day and then down to 700, 800, 175 because it's all test data. However, it still should be useful enough for what it is we're trying to discuss today. So this week over week comparison chart currently shows you Sunday through Saturday data with a time frame of 4 weeks ago all the way down to the current week. And you can actually use this drop down up here to go all the way back 10 weeks if you want, which is going to give you a lot more data to go back. But let's go back to 4 for now. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of yellow boxes here as well. I will get into that in just a second. But what this is really doing is it's allowing us to see where are our high points and low points on a standard cadence of a week. And also, are we growing from 4 weeks ago until today? So, just a simple view of if you just looked at the dark number, you would see this is gross sales. So, this versus this versus this versus this versus. So, if you were to look at this, you would say, hey, I made 146 bucks and then I did something amazing here, probably a promo. And then the next it lasted really great the next week and it even went up the following week, but then it dropped to this. What happened? So you can kind of get an idea of the trend. Something went wrong and you need to kind of look over this. Now, again, this is test data, so it's all goofy. But if we look over here on Thursday and Friday, these are a little bit more realistic. Yeah, there's a bump here and so on, but these, are jumping back and forth 155, 235, 177, 240, and the same idea for 213, 226. That's a low point and so on. What we can see here is we could say, look, Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays, I tend to make more money than I make on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. That could just be your natural cadence. And that's something that we see a lot with authors where you'll have like certain days of the week are way up here, other days of the week are down here. And it just kind of has this EKG type rhythm that is jumping around on your dates. And the object, obviously, is to try to get the high points and the low points closer together, more towards the high points. You don't want to bring the high points down just so you can have a straighter line, obviously. But yeah, so that's kind of the goal. And as you're moving through and looking at the various trend data, you can kind of gauge that. So if we went back 10 weeks, for example, we could see 160, 129, 157. We can see that these are all sticking in a similar range. Again, test data, but your data would probably be a little more consistent than this. However, if you started out at 160 and then it went to 129, then it went to 99, then it went to 89 and 79 and so on, and it keeps going down, clearly there is something wrong and you need to take a look into that. And that would be the case on any of the days of the week. So it's just a quick snapshot view of what's happening. And you can choose a particular book. You don't need to show all of your books. You can say, just show me a specific series, I should say. And at that point, you can grab that. Now, if we were to look at this and say, let's just show Facebook ads only. So you saw a couple of these yellow blocks turned into white blocks instead. So let's just click on one of these yellow blocks and you'll see that it says, oh, I started 3 Facebook ads that day. Now, again, test data, but this is important because inside of your ads, when you create an ad campaign and you create an ad set and then an ad itself, you can name each one of those. And if you just let the Facebook ad system name it for you, you're going to get something like this. This is really going to be difficult for you to tell, well, what's really going on here? Because I don't know what ad 30 to 65 is. And so that could be a pain. We do highly recommend that when you're creating your Facebook ads that you actually give them meaningful names on all three: ad set, ad campaign, and the ad itself. So that way when you are clicking on these types of things, it's not just a bunch of this, it's actual names of stuff that you can, see what's going on. So the yellow block basically means that there are ads there, that something happened on that day. If you'll notice, it turns into a pointer, and that means I can click it. If it's white block, that means you didn't do any ads on that particular day. So if you have a lot of these blocks, then you're doing a lot of ads and so on. And you can kind of, check that out. and see which one did I run on start on each day. And if you name them appropriately, you'll get a lot more information out of that. So why is that important? Well, let's just say that this was a yellow block here and that these next, four were white blocks. I could start seeing, is this going up? I'll see my spend is going up, certainly, but is this going up in accordance with that? And if so, that's great because then I'm saying, hey, these ads look like they're doing something. But keep in mind, my cadence days of Thursdays and Fridays may be low. So I might see a decrease here and I might make a knee jerk reaction and say, oh, maybe those ads aren't working after all and cancel them. Not a great idea. I should continue waiting a little while because again, when I get into the cadence of next week and my numbers start, back up to that peak again, I might actually see this number going higher and higher. And even though this one again might dip because that's my cadence, is it dipping higher than it dipped here? And that's the question. If so, my ads are probably doing pretty well. And you can always tweak them. And there are other tools, as we've discussed, that you can utilize to further dig into that trend data. But this is another just great visual for that. And if you scroll down here, you can check out line charts that actually jump into the same idea to give you, even further breakdown information that you can utilize on that. So again, make sure that you name your ads accordingly, decent names as opposed to just leaving it to the Facebook ads. Go ahead and check out the Sunday through Saturday. Try to figure out what your cadence is. Make sure that your numbers are on the increase or at least stable. If they are decreasing, try to figure out where did that decrease start? Because let's just say that it's 300, 300, 300, 300, and then all of a sudden it starts going 280, 250, 240. Well, something happened around here that you need to check into and try to figure out what it was so that way you can get back to where you were before and so on. So again, keep in mind, this is a great report for checking out your week over week comparisons and utilize it as much as you can. It will really help you figure out your trends.